Welcome to the Tesla Model 3. I'm going to show you its coolest features, and you're going to get to look around the whole cabin while I go take a ride. So here on the tablet, and that is one of the only things in this car, you've got a tablet and a steering wheel on the dashboard, and that's about it. Here on the tablet, you've got a giant display to show you your mapping information, and it's responsive, so responsive, just like a smartphone, and you can control so much with this. If you just hit this car icon here, you access all the quick controls. You can adjust your mirrors and the steering wheel, the telescoping of the steering wheel. You can adjust your lights. You can tab on whether you want the car to lock and unlock when you approach the vehicle with your smartphone. All of those things right here in the car. You can adjust your steering, the resistance of the steering wheel through this, and your autopilot functions. How close do you want to follow the car in front of you? Do you want the auto steer function to be activated or not? And all you have to do is put the car in park to turn on or off, and you also have to agree to their terms of service to use these things. When you're out of that, on the left-hand side, you have your automotive icon on here to show you what's happening in the vehicle. If I open the door, it shows the door opening. If I hit this little charger button here, it shows that the charge port is open, but I can also close it from right here. Your windshield wiper functions are off to the left. Your gear stock over here, drive, neutral, reverse, and then to activate autopilot, you're going to tab down twice on that. The rest of the functions in here are sort of standard. You've got climate control, multimedia, seat heating and cooling, and all of those functions right there in the tablet display. It's all super modular, very easy to use, and then of course there's some Easter eggs. If you hit this Tesla button here, you let this drop down, you've got a bunch of cool features in here. I love the light show that you get when you press on that. If you want the map to turn into the surface of Mars, hit that button and there you go. You've got the surface of Mars. Tab it again and you notice that your car is turned into a space shuttle. Hit that one more time and it's back to a normal map. There are more. If you hit this button, you're going to enter Santa mode. So watch, the car will turn into Santa's sleigh and you get some funky music going on.
Out of all the reindeers, you know you're the mastermind.
You can also draw on the car, like I drew in digital trends here on the display, and you can erase it if you wanted to. And then this is my favorite one, and I'll show you once we're moving. We've got autopilot going on, but it will show you the Santa sleigh turning back into a car and driving on Rainbow Road with More Cowbell, the SNL sketch, playing in the background. All right, so those are those functions. I'm gonna get Santa's sleigh to go back to the normal Model 3 here, and then we're ready to roll. I want you to take a peek at this glass roof while we're driving around here. It is so cool looking. It comes tinted, and so you don't have to worry about your head burning in the sun, but it creates this awesome aura in here, and the acoustics in the vehicle are fantastic. All right, so we're ready to roll here. I just tabbed down on the gear stock, and we're in drive, and we're moving away silently. Now, part of the reason for the glass roof and all of the tall windows in this car is that the visibility is superb, possibly the best of any road car I've been in. And in terms of driving dynamics, the Model 3 behaves very much like a normal vehicle in terms of the damping and steering input, and you can change those things just like a sport luxury vehicle. But because it's an electric vehicle, you have things like regenerative braking. So when I take my foot off the throttle, the car will immediately start to slow itself because it's using that regen braking to put energy back into the battery packs. And you can adjust that regenerative braking feel as well. If you don't want so much of that sort of lurching feeling when you put your foot, or take your foot off the throttle, then you can make it lighter so it sort of eases in to your stop. And as you can hear, or not hear, it's very quiet in here. And so it's clear that Tesla is using some soundproofing for the materials. You really feel like you're in a luxury vehicle as you're driving around. Now, because the batteries are placed in the floorboards, the Tesla handles very well. Corners super flat, And then of course, you've got that electric charge coming out, so the moment you get on the throttle, it really does move. All right, so we're gonna go to the Pacific Coast Highway here. And because of the regen braking, you hardly ever have to touch the brake pedal, but when you do, there's plenty of stopping force. You're never concerned that the car will not come to a complete stop. Now let's get on the throttle a little bit. Yeah, it really moves. There is no concern that you're not going to have enough passing power on the highways. Whee! Silently sniping away. This is a very quick vehicle. And more than that, it's fun. It's fun to drive. And you don't, as I noticed, you don't really miss having the speedo and tack right in front of you. Having it just off the corner of the steering wheel here, it really something you get used to very quickly. Now, once we get moving again, I want to show you Autopilot and what that's like to use. It's very simple, and yet it's the most sophisticated system in its class by far. I've tested Mercedes-Benz vehicles, I've tested Hondas, and everything in between, and nothing comes close to what Autopilot enables you to do and how smoothly it does those things. So once we get moving here, we'll get to test that out. But for now, I can talk about some other things in this cabin. The storage space is excellent. You open up this cubby here and you've got a nice big basin for you to put water bottles and things like that. You open up this one and there's a tray here with a charge port at the bottom for you to charge up your smartphone. The rest of the dashboard is very clean, super cohesive. As I said, there's only these two things that you're looking at. The rest of it is all pretty straightforward stuff. All right, so we're back moving again. And Autopilot will only work when it can spot the lane markers clearly. And when it's working, or when it's able to be working, the little steering wheel icon will appear there. If you don't have the steering wheel icon, you can just tap the gear stalk down once and it'll go to adaptive cruise control. But you toggle it down twice and Autopilot is on. And it's setting whatever speed you want it to be at its maximum. So right now we're saying we want 50 miles per hour to be the max speed that we want it to be. But if we tab up or down, then we can control that speed. At this point, I could, if I wanted to, take my hands off the wheel. Of course, Tesla wants you to keep your hands on the wheel at all times, but you really don't need to in all circumstances. So I'm gonna go over a lane, and when I did that, it didn't recognize the markers, and so it turned off Autopilot. But if I toggle down twice, then it's back on. And I took my hands off the wheel and it is gauging where it sits in the lane, and you can monitor the car here based off of the lane markings. You can also see that there's a vehicle in front of us and it is following at the distance that I set in the parameters itself. If I wanted to change those, go to Autopilot and say I want to follow just from a distance of 2 car lengths. Then it will accelerate if it spots that you have some distance to make up between you and the car in front of it. So now we're in Autopilot mode, and you know what? I want more cowbell. So I'm gonna hit this stalk down 4 times quickly. And look at that, I'm on Rainbow Road. Car is driving itself. It's pretty incredible.